We are online, so I'm going to call the February 1st meeting of the jointure to order. First order of business is the approval of
Debbie, I'm on
the
Zoom. Are you coming home?
minutes. Just one correction I made on already, but was not reflected in the electronic copies I sent out, is that on the reorganization meeting, I actually put down Yvette instead of Ellen as the.
Got it.
Congratulations.
But that's, well, yeah, that's what was written down on my paper. But,
Oh, okay.
and then I went and I'm struggling with this, and I said, no, and trying to figure out, wait, that doesn't seem right. I went back and relooked at the tapes, and I said, my mistake. All right.
No.
So we have the reorganization meeting with the correction of Alan Snyder, the vice chair, so we get that corrected. And we also have the December minutes or the January business minutes. So any additional?
I apologize.
No, you're fine. Just started. So I'll entertain a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
So
And. Sorry. All right. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Next item is the treasurer's report.
Yep, so this is the latest iteration of Quicken. You can see all the checks that were written out, and then I just took a screenshot of the register. I can try to make it fancier, but you get the general idea that the period we're talking about is below the line, and then you just see the checks that were issued and what our final balance is. I do have a caveat this evening. And by the way, when I try to do the bank statements go from the 4th to the 4th of every month. So I try to get everything in before the 4th. We had an invoice that just came in that we're going to pay tonight, but it's not reflected on this. So I can either revise this report or I can just throw it into the next report, Lester.
Why don't you send us a revised report?
I think it'd be better. That way it's all the same.
So the additional check would be to Clemens and
Richter and Rice,
right,
the amount of $872.50.
72. All right. They use the old-fashioned way of billing and send it to them in mail. So we found that today.
That'll be corrected for the next
Everyone
one.
to the electronic format of billing. Let that go. All right.
Some people still like getting the paper copy.
Well, municipality wise, we still do that. Don't change it.
No, I won't. I
Don't
won't.
change it there. Kim will freak out.
Did we resolve, there were a couple checks.
Yes,
Questions.
we got what was the refund that we got back?
Oh, okay. Good, I'm glad you brought that up. Yep, so refund was $632.50. So that'll go into the next, I guess I'll put that, I'll revise that with this also. Does that make sense or?
I would put that in for I would be, well, that hasn't been deposited yet, so I
Yeah.
just put it in for the next one.
All right,
So and they accepted all of the charges that was on that previous list that I shared with everybody, so. And I assume Newtown's gonna get billed for a few. I saw that in one of the comments, oh, just send the bill to Newtown. So you have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Make that motion.
Ellen
second.
and any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Solicitor.
Thank you. So the first item on the agenda is the wireless communications ordinance. That was attached to the email that went out this evening with the, not this evening, it went out for tonight's meeting. But I believe I also had circulated it right after our last meeting so that everybody would have a copy of it. So we'll be looking for, I'm going to assume though that there isn't any comments coming in yet at this point. But we'll be looking for comments from, the planning commissions when it can be put on everybody's agenda coming up.
I have comments from Kathleen.
You do? Oh,
If I don't read them, she'll
okay,
put it on me.
okay.
So the first one was small wireless design manual 3(1)E. To add in accordance with recognized safety issues and aesthetic design. Does that make sense?
Issues and design.
Aesthetic design.
Well, before we take those up, I just, I want to kind of like talk about what we want to do. Are we gonna want to sit here and rework this ordinance before we send it out to the planning commissions? Or do we just send it to the planning commissions at this point, get their input? Which then we would get it that way.
Telling her to
And let
call
it come
you.
back. What's the preference? Do we want to still continue to look at this ordinance?
Personally, I think we should send it to the planning commission because sitting right here, right? It's kind of hard, yeah. To determine what it is exactly.
Okay,
Sounds like our planning commission was trying to bring it to us.
well, I think.
And I promise we'll get right to it.
I think Kathleen just want to make sure that these issues got, taken care of, but if we can get them back in the planning commission's hands, then they can,
And they have not taken a look at this yet.
they have not seen this version.
No, not this version.
Okay.
So they've seen the previous version. The one thing that I would like to discuss though, as an approach is that on page 2, I had started and I guess Jerry had sent my original edits up to the attorney
Mhm.
in Pittsburgh, and then he made some changes. Some of my stuff is still included in here. I was wondering whether we should go and include kind of a update of all of the definition assignments, numbers, 'cause all the section numbers are kind of getting miscombobulated. We have like, in some of the new ones, we have, 2018 point something, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. We're getting a lot of, subsections in our definitions section of the ordinance. Maybe it's time to go back and relist them all with the new with the new section numbers so that they all make sense. Now, we don't have to do that. But if we don't, then it's going to be, we're going to have, they're still going to go and insert all of these definitions in between where we are, but we'll be calling definitions by like sub numbers and instead of a whole number like they were originally written.
I think that makes sense.
It's like onerous. Yeah. I agree.
All right. So I think, okay. So,
Did she have a lot of evidence?
She had 3.
That's good.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's before the whole planning commission sees it.
Yeah, you don't realize by now she's a stickler for detail,
Yeah, she is.
which is good.
Yeah.
so I'd be comfortable sending it to them with sending this copy to the planning commission. And then with just an explanation that we intend to do something, and that's how it's, this change is being, part of this change is being reflected in Article 2 definition section. Not asking them to actually do anything because I think that can be done by us.
Mhm.
Those are just editorial things. And then just let the planning commissions take a look at the meat and potatoes of the ordinance.
Right.
So is everybody comfortable sending it to the planning commission?
Yeah, Tom, is there any, are we? By doing that, are we messing with Kathleen's process here?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then yes.
Now, we're totally giving it to her.
I didn't know if she wanted that to
No, I'm
be
just
in
gonna
the
tell her
copy
that-
before it
I'm
gets.
gonna tell her that you voted to ignore her comment.
She'll be able to add them herself.
I thought she was trying to get these in, so it comes to the planning commission as if it's been sanctioned by.
And again, there's so many, right now, unless we go, I mean, if we would send them and say, okay, we're gonna accept all these changes and send them a clean copy, that'd be one thing, but we're not. I propose that we send the markup and let them take a look at the markup. And then we move, keep moving from there. That's general consensus. All right, then,
Need a vote for that?
was that?
Need a vote? For that?
Well, yeah, look, Tom, is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Yes, all right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, so we're gonna move that to the planning commissions, all right. Okay.
Okay, so the second item on the agenda is the modified jointure agreement to codify current practice. We were waiting for any comments from Upper Mayfield.
And you're still with.
So at our last planning commission, we barely had a quorum, and I think the whole planning commission would like to look at the various items you're waiting for us on. So that will be the answer for all of them this evening.
Okay,
And you're like, we got a whole block of waiting on comment from Upper Makefield.
Yeah.
I know.
I think she was getting ready.
Okay, you're correct. So the next item would be the electric vehicle charging stations. That was recommended by Newtown. Our planning commission has reviewed it, but I have not submitted the formal comments yet. And then we were also waiting on comments from Upper Mayfield, so I'm gonna assume that's the same answer. Billboard use, our planning commission did take a look at that also, but I have not forwarded the comments yet, as they need to be reviewed by our board. And then I'm assuming same answer again for Upper Make. And then next would be the expansion of the non-conforming structures, the height. I'm gonna skip Upper Make because I'm gonna know that you're gonna say the same thing and say we're also waiting for comments on Newtown, from Newtown on that one.
I thought we,
We do.
if it hasn't been on the agenda, if we haven't given you comments, we will put it on the agenda, maybe next week,
Okay,
14th.
okay.
It seemed like we did it.
Yeah, we did a long time ago.
If there was, I didn't see any that came in for it.
Yeah, I never saw anything from Jerry, so, if Jerry had it, he never forwarded it, so that's the.
Okay.
Next is the parking core apartment building use. I'm gonna assume same response from
That's
Upper
correct.
Main.
Yes.
And then the last thing for my part is a new item, which is a proposed amendment to the LI/OLI overlay district. This is being proposed by Newtown Township. No one has had a chance to look at this yet. But that was the map that John had brought up earlier onto and was sharing his screen regarding. I don't know if,
So Ron, you need to make sure.
I don't know if you want to provide any inputs and just coming from Newtown or.
I could make a comment or two.
Sure.
Everybody's familiar with and you guys can back me up, and I think John may have a comment. For the business commons, is everybody's familiar with the Newtown Business Commons. What we wanted to try to do was take advantage of some of the open spaces, some of this open square footage that nobody's using, and give some opportunities for other kind of business and economic activity to happen there, just to open it up some. We also were looking at a model of mixed use development. And that would include residential, and it would put people in a spot where they could be close to the businesses that they want to use. It'd be close to transportation. And just make it walkable, bicyclable, if that's a word. So that's kind of what we were looking for. We called in the Bucks County Planning Commission to help us out with that, came up with these regulations, and when it comes to the residential and the mixed use, I know John has a question that he didn't think I would probably bring up about the by right. Do we want to do it by right? Do we want to do it by conditional use? I'm not sure what the advantages for this site are one way or the other. Certainly, making a conditional use would give us conceivably give us a little more control.
So are you proposing to change all of the land that is in that district to residential or mixed use?
Yes.
Meaning it could be just residential?
It's an overlay.
What's that?
It is an overlay, right? So,
Yes.
the property owner isn't required to develop under the overlay.
Right.
But if they do, these would be the provisions.
So I'm just trying to understand. So someone could take that property and they could build houses there.
Well,
No, so it would be under, we'd be introducing town center apartment uses. And so the town center apartment uses, they're only permitted as developed as a part of a mixed use development.
Got it.
So there's not going to be standalone residential.
And then there were some other uses by conditional approval, like recreation, community center, retail stores, etc.
I was gonna say, there's no retail there yet, so you
Right.
definitely have to put in retail if you want to make it walkable bikers.
Pizza place or two.
Well, there's one pizza.
The Newtown Brewery,
Right.
one pizza place.
Can people hear me now?
You're looking to do, to basically nestle in mixed use and residential within the existing layout of that district.
And of course, eventually.
Any thought about, could somebody come and buy a couple lots and tear down buildings?
Right.
And put in, and put in just apartments in that area, or is that somehow?
So it couldn't be just apartments. If there is a residential component, it has to be in combination with other uses.
Okay.
But to your point, yes, right? If that's more valuable, sure.
But they still have to provide the other uses.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
How would they
That's the way I interpret it, and I don't know if that's the legal.
So would it be an apartment complex that had on the bottom store convenience, something?
Possibly.
Yes,
It'd have to be something.
dog grooming, hairdresser.
So you said other uses. You're not are you proposing any more industrial type uses or just mixed use residential?
That's what the overlay is.
Yeah, so the underlying zoning is still going to apply.
Okay.
They're not adding like heavy industrial or.
Right.
About height, that would still apply.
Dimensional requirement.
Yeah. I think I have that here. Well, anything from the underlying zoning still applies.
It has a chart of 50.
Right.
Yeah, it's the maximum height.
I'm
And
not
I
sure what
think
the
that
how
was
much streets
consistent
are.
with the underlying.
right, it did a lot of the area.
How
the
much
dimensional
streets,
requirements.
like 4 or 5. How
Right,
much streets,
yeah.
like 4 or 5 floors.
So just to give a sense on the area and dimensional requirements, the overlay would relax the minimum yard. So the underlying requires 75-foot setback for front yards. The overlay allows for
it gives a range, so it has a minimum of 10 feet and a maximum of 25 feet for front yard. And then side yard, it relaxes it from 30 to 20 feet. And then for rear yard, it relaxes it from 75 feet to 20 feet. And then the other requirement under the overlay is there's a minimum public space requirement of 5% of the face area.
So the worst case scenario in terms of density would be something like a 3-story structure that would have stores on the first floor, apartments.
Residential.
Yeah.
It also looks like for every 10 residential units, there must be 500 square feet of a non-residential use. So that will also limit what you could possibly do.
Right. Exactly. But there's no cap on the number of mixed use dwellings or apartments, whatever. I mean, theoretically, that whole thing could be apartment buildings.
That's why we want to change the wording a little bit to make sure that that the supervisors have an ultimate last say.
Yeah.
So you're proposing to make the whole thing by conditional use? So the whole mixed use concept?
Well, right now it's not. I think the draft has it as permitted.
It does.
Yeah, so that's the change you're proposing, make it.
And
Well, that's, I guess,
when we voted it out to send it to you, it was 3-2.
to keep it the way it is or to change
To
it?
keep it the way it is.
Okay.
But I did want to honor I mean, I was one of the 3. I wanted to make sure that, you know, the other opinion got, you know, put on the table. If you all have some preferences, I mean, I know you don't have an LI district, but
I was gonna say this only affects Newtown,
it
correct?
only affects the.
Correct.
Can anybody hear me?
John, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me. I don't,
We still can't hear you.
let me try something else.
Hold on, let me try something.
Your mute is on the top.
No, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
He's not muted.
There's something going on here. Can you hear me?
Hold
Hi.
Let me see.
on.
Hang on, Chester's going to see.
Zoom says the mic is working here.
Is the speaker on?
It'd be like Love Actually.
Yeah, it could be- yeah, it could be our speaker.
That's
I
right.
am
If
not
John can hear
muted.
us. Hey, John, if you can hear
He's on
us,
mute.
Wait.
the problem's on your end.
I'm not
Is
muted.
it the same mute up at the top?
That's not muted.
Mute. No. it's not.
His.
It's like.
Sign
I
language.
don't
you can
know.
use.
Or an
I'm trying
email or a
everything.
text.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
He's chatting. Right?
I mean, one nice thing about that industrial park, and I'm a little bit biased because I drive through there like 5 times a week to get to the NAC. It's just like no traffic. It's quiet. So, you know, I'm sure it's stuff you've thought about, but you could really change kind
We
of
certainly
traffic,
will.
population.
absolutely.
But
It's
your
always at the top.
goal is not to convert all of it to this use, right? So you would want to do a conditional use because that would give you more
I don't know.
control over it. Because if it's
That's,
just,
and that's what John is trying to say.
John, can you say
Right,
something?
John?
Can you
so,
hear
so
me?
if it's by right
No.
and the market just drives it to be economically more beneficial to have mixed use,
John,
that's what you'll have.
John, if you look on your screen,
I
in the upper section, it says that you're muted.
It does?
Make sure that you're unmuted.
Place for it.
I don't
Tell me
know.
right there. It's-
We hear that.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything coming from the speaker though either.
No.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'm unmuted.
Somebody want to call him? You can put him on speakerphone.
There you go.
Yeah, just have them call.
Uh,
We're working on it, John.
Working on John.
No.
No, I'm
I
here,
thought I heard some thumping at the beginning, but no.
but no.
hello, can you hear? Nope. Hello,
Okay. Oh, now we got an echo.
That's coming through Joe's computer.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, let me do something else.
There you go. He can
Maybe,
talk,
maybe,
nobody
yeah,
else.
maybe
All right,
turn
can you hear
your
me?
sound on your computer.
Yeah, but I'm picking up an echo, so it's not gonna work.
You shouldn't get an echo now. Can you hear me?
There it's starting to
Yeah,
come
we got
through.
you. We got you.
Got him on the phone.
Oh, he's on.
Yeah,
Yay. Thank you, Dennis.
You're
I guess-
welcome.
Yeah, I thought so what you're saying is the usage is only mixed use. It's not like standalone apartment, multi-story apartment
No.
building. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
It's my interpretation. That's what I remember, like discussions at the planning commission being. That's what you guys believe, yes.
Is Sycamore Street a good example?
I don't, well, as it relates to what?
The type of use, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, just residential above.
The promenade.
Yeah.
Where the bike store is.
Some of the, I was reading a lot. I was reading a lot about problems with mixed use in other cities, and I'm just wondering why we're so hot on mixed use. I don't know. But
So John, what kind of problems are you seeing in mixed use in other cities?
they can't get tenants of businesses to sign in there. I know that, for example, on Sycamore Street, Zoe's Kitchen was vacant for a number of years. Well, I don't know, for quite a while. And now we are getting an Indian restaurant there, but they need a lot of square footage, and I'm not quite sure how that would work in a mixed use environment. But
Well, we're not taking anything away with this. The underlying zoning is still there. So if someone wanted to do a warehouse or a set of doctor's offices or whatever, they could still do that.
right, yeah.
And nobody would take and put in a mixed use facility in that area unless they had clients that, I mean, nobody's gonna put it on a, yeah, they're gonna know that they have potential clients for the business portion and for the residential portion before they're gonna go.
Yeah, and in addition, the only problem, I mean, if you want to do this, that the only advice I can give you, and it's just advice, is that from my understanding is the mixed use will be worth more than the industrial use. So over time, if you don't put controls around it, what you're doing is converting that business district to mixed use. So in other words, the revenue for each property will be more if they convert it. So everybody that owns the property today is going to sell it to somebody who's going to develop it. Won't happen overnight, but it'll happen.
Again, we would have the final say on.
You want to put as many controls around
Yeah.
this to limit it as possible.
Mhm.
Is there an analog, a comparison of
A district like
yeah, that has
this,
done this?
not sure, not that. It's not really as large of a district as the Commons is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we consulted other mixed use overlay, overlay ordinances. But in terms of like a confined space, like the business commons is, I don't know if we saw any examples like that. I'm sure there are some, but.
I'm trying to imagine the transitional period where you have whatever it is, some sort of industrial type complex next to a mixed use, and how that just, not good or bad, just curious how that would look and feel.
Just be market driven.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Someone will do it.
Yeah.
It's successful. Someone will do another one.
yeah, it seems like a domino.
Right.
Yeah.
Thing that would eventually turn into more of the mixed use.
It's
interesting. So my understanding is, where the liquor store is and the gourmet place, you guys know way better than I, but that developer hasn't done well, right? I mean, are some of those units still?
You mean
Hello?
On residential,
You need to control that.
but I don't know what number that is. And the conditions, Tom's right, you can't predict what will happen to the conditions. I've seen like a mixed use where it was primarily an office, large office complex that right now, large offices are not what people want. So now there's a lot of desire to rezone that with an overlay into a mixed use to allow apartments. But what's starting to happen is the apartments are so desirable that now people want to tear down the office buildings, build more apartments. Now they're coming for relief to get,
That's what's that's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen.
and they're saying, you know, economic hardship because they can't rent out these large office things.
Exactly. Numbers right now. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. You control it.
Hello?
Hey, John, you're a little louder for us now.
Thanks a lot.
Chester can put you in the middle.
Yeah, also the bus is not gonna go drive through there anymore, I heard. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, that's true. We did hear that.
Say that again.
They're probably gonna cut, I mean, it's not official, I don't think, but the speculation is that the service to that bus line will be cut.
As a result of this? or
No,
because of-
just separate, yeah.
So, yeah.
Because they don't have no business there.
Somebody, we're gonna cut it off somewhere in the borough, I think.
Yeah.
However, to develop, like, if it redevelops, let's say, I mean, that demand.
Yeah, wouldn't this drive?
It could easily, yeah.
What we're trying to do is have a walkable community where the only reason people have to go out. If not, they could walk. They could walk to, dinner or to the gym or maybe a movie theater, maybe a library, who knows what's gonna go in there. But that's the whole idea, is a walkable community. And when you say Sycamore Street, those places in the promenade that might be empty for a while, well, their rent is about $135,000 a month. Yeah, so that is a whole different ballgame. If it's going to be a lot cheaper if they want to do something, over in the business commons.
Is there gonna be a price control?
We haven't gotten that far.
I think you can.
Or, no.
Do you mean that not the commercial? So is
Excuse me?
that what you're saying, the commercial?
Yeah.
businesses, that's what they.
Yeah, I just looked at the rest of that. We had a graph, and it was mind-boggling. I didn't even know that, but
So you're saying the Indian restaurant that's going in place of Zoe's?
Yeah.
They're spending $135,000
a month
a month?
in rent.
Oh, that's.
I mean,
Yeah,
people.
you
love
can do
Indian
that.
food,
Yeah.
But I didn't know they loved it that much.
They all are. What was
Yeah,
it?
and in the shopping centers, Brixmor, for example, is raising rents 140%, I was told by one of restaurant owners who has a small restaurant. They're pricing these smaller places out of business so they can get in chain things like Capital Grill, for example, that will have more of a success rate. Obviously, small businesses have a problem that, chain restaurants and so on do not have. But, they go in and out of business. So sometimes in a mixed use area, you're going to see empty storefronts, which really doesn't look very well. It's kind of like a virus. When other businesses want to come in there and they see empty storefronts, they're saying, well, doesn't seem to be working here. So you have to be very careful what kind of businesses go into the area. I mean, originally we were talking about service industry, you know, I don't know about dog grooming because we already had that argument about dogs barking and they have to go out. I don't know if you can hear me now. I just lost my image.
I was just saying that off the top of my head, I don't see it listed as one of the uses by conditional approval. Dog grooming.
Oh, is that probably goes, I don't think that's a specific use, so that probably goes under service.
Service business. Yeah.
No, okay.
This is Amos. I just brought up Amos.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to control who the space gets rented to. or occupied.
Sorry, I only had $100,000. I was wrong by about $90,000 there.
That's for a year.
Read the left-hand column.
Wow.
I changed my whole
For the
thing
first,
to
for
be-
the first year.
At the office meeting.
You never know. Yeah.
100 meetings a month.
But you're not gonna be able to control who rents the space, right?
No.
And you're not gonna be able to control the prices. No, I'm not asking you, telling you.
It have to be marketed.
Right.
Marketable. Make it. So. Top there. Here to send us the plan,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that'd be a great idea, because I mean, again, you guys have put a lot of work, your planning commission put a lot of work.
Get a lot of this.
These guys, so I think we ought to take and just send down to the planning commission. Let them take a look at it.
Would it be out of? Would it be out of the bounds of the way things happen if we make a change in the use by right versus?
Well, that can happen at any time. I mean, because again, these are just draft. So as
Okay.
part of this
Make it go round and round and round.
Well, yeah, but you're gonna, it's gonna come, you're gonna get this too. And this, so you can say, hey, we'd really like to make this conditional use instead of use by
Okay.
right.
Okay.
It's. So Dennis, was that a motion to send that? It was a motion.
Yeah,
to send
that would be a
to the
motion.
Plan commission. We have a second.
Second.
Tim, all right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, so just summarizing my report at the end, we have two new ordinances that we need everybody to be looking at. The wireless ordinance and then this new LI/OLI overlay district. We're waiting for comments from Upper Wakefield on the jointure agreement, the electric vehicle charging station, the billboard ordinance, and the expansion of non-conforming structures and the parking core apartments. And then we're waiting for comments from Newtown with regard to the expansion of the non-conforming structures ordinance. And then along with the wireless and the new ordinance we talked about tonight, that's on everybody's agenda.
Could you send follow-up
Yes.
notes to,
Can I send follow-up nudges to everybody? Yes, I
yeah,
can.
well, yeah, to the manager, solicitor, chair
Mhm.
of each township, that way it just kind of
Yep.
keeps on everybody's,
How about Jerry for the electric vehicle charging stations? Is he the one that has the most updated information on that, since you don't have it?
No, I think it was attached to one of the recent
yeah, we sent it. You have that.
rounds. But if not, I will resend everything again when I send these follow-ups.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody got the most recent or the most current version of
Or
that.
something you said.
Yeah.
But we've recommended that. So we don't have to.
By solicitor.
I can send an email to Jerry and ask him
Okay.
if he has any formal comments on the non-conforming one, but he just maybe did not send me.
Sure.
I can do that.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Comp plan.
I guess everybody, it was sent out, right, last month. And then we discussed really just taking another month. I think Newtown Planning Commission wanted to take another look at it. So I don't know if anybody has comments. We didn't get any feedback from anybody, so. I don't know if did Newtown Planning Commission discuss it or?
That was the night of the ice storm,
Oh,
so
okay.
we didn't get there. A lot of us didn't get there, but I think we're ready to have it move on
Yeah, they did.
as
They
is.
did officially make no other comments
Oh, okay.
according to your minutes.
So there's no additional changes from Newtown.
No,
So it's just the version that had been sent, the red line changes, right?
With the addendum from Newtown.
Right, so, and that's just gonna be at the end, and I think we talked about one or two things that were in that, the committee decided wanted to apply across the board, so that was moved into the body, but then all the other stuff stays in the addendum, correct? Okay. Just want to be clear on that.
Wrightstown's planning commission had made like 2 additional sentence changes and they sent it to the board. We looked at it, our work, and we didn't take any action on it. And I don't think we are going to take any action on it at this point. So I think from Wrightstown's perspective, everything is okay to, circulate. So
Yeah.
that'll, again, as we go through this formal process, there's still potential for, making changes or, taking input from the public. And, if we decide that we want to include all those changes into the final document, that's gonna be part of that process, but.
Was there anything from Upper Main?
Kathleen had indicated to me at our last planning commission meeting that I think she wanted to look at it one more time since she had questions last time. So we'll take that up with all these other items.
All right, the train is stopping in Upper Makefield again.
They made the last set of corrections.
But yeah, I was gonna say, let's clarify that Upper Makefield produced their comments. So the comments have gone through the planning commission, have been approved by the board of supervisors. I think Kathleen may want to read the document with any other inputs, but I don't know if you have any other comment coming from Upper Makefield.
and Kathleen's comments were.
Yeah, so if they were the same ones that she brought up last month.
She had nothing new.
Yeah, so she and I resolved those.
Okay,
So we're good on that.
then in that case, we don't need to look at that.
Okay.
Okay.
One off the list.
Cut off the list.
Let's see.
Continuity.
That's all.
So what will your next step be?
So I guess if you accept the document with the red line changes, I guess our next step would be to go and
Formalize a draft.
formalize it. I think we need to get it formatted a little bit
Yeah.
differently. And then I guess you're basically agreeing to send it on to the municipalities, right? For put it on next step. It's actually for them to consider to vote on, right? Or do you have to?
We have to send it to.
No, it's going back again, right?
No, we have to send
Oh,
it to neighboring.
because the individual municipalities didn't see all the changes, you're saying, only the SCORE did?
Well, what you circulated before was sort of like the markup, but I think it has to go back and it's fine in what we potentially be the final form.
Right, we have to take it back and.
Right.
And make them official, well, just make it a clean document, reformat it, I think we want to do a little bit.
Yeah,
And then,
photos or something. It's a lot of just text.
yeah, so what I have written down, we had gone over, I think a few months ago, the steps for adoption.
Mhm.
And what I have written down here is, let's see, the jointure considers recommended changes received from each of the 3 townships, so that's where we are now, right? If revisions to the draft are agreed upon by the jointure, a revised draft with the agreed upon changes will be sent back to each of the 3 towns.
Well, I think everybody has to see it and what's the proposed final version without all the markup.
That's step 4, I think, in this list, right? Township officials are asked to review the revised document and give the go-ahead if they are ready to move forward with the official adoption. I guess once we get that agreement from each of the communities, then at that point, I guess we consider the advertisement of, for adoption.
Right, and at some point it has to go out to the adjoining municipalities and the school district. So I would think that once we get this next step, which is everybody's approval on an unredlined version, then we're ready to once everybody's okay with that, then we're ready to send it out to everybody else, give them their 45-day comment period and have the public hearings.
Right, is there a timeline between the public hearing, or I guess it's just the advertisement? I was gonna say, is there a timeline between the public hearing and when we send it out for review?
It goes out for review first.
Right.
Yeah, and so they have to be given 45 days to review. So, and then plus the advertisements and the hearing, so.
Right, so there's no, so really they can't really adopt it before the 45 days, but there's no timeline after that in terms of a deadline.
No, you mean like if it goes longer? No, it just can't go any shorter.
It's just the timeline comes into play with the advertisement.
Right, for the hearings, yeah. Yeah, so I guess the next step would be for you guys to do whatever you're gonna do, get a clean copy back, we'll distribute it amongst everybody. And hopefully everybody will be able to come back relatively quickly and say it's okay, since they've seen it multiple times.
Yeah. I'm struggling here because I want us all to avoid the temptation when we get this next document to say, oh, well, I'd like to change this, and this. So, because, we've done that several times. We've got this last set of go around with all the changes, and we did have a red line and clean copy already that we circulated that everybody looked at. And what we did here is everybody was happy with it, so.
So you're saying you want to have it done before we have to start working on the next 10.
Correct. Yes, but
It's ideal.
from a legal standpoint, though, what you struggle with is the one that goes out has to be the final version.
Okay.
So there's gonna be additional formatting changes and stuff that need to be made.
Okay.
So I'm hoping it's not gonna result in further comments from from all of us. But it's that version that has to go to the planning commissions and be,
So
I know, I'm sorry, but.
One other thing I was gonna say though, did the whole document go out, or was it just like the principal section? Even though the second part, I don't think we
The
changed it.
appendices.
Yeah, we
Right.
didn't change anything, but were the maps and everything in that? I don't know. Because I think the changes were all made to the principal section. So that's why we'll put it all together
Okay,
and then.
I would, move forward with putting it together, circulating it to each township with kind of a high level letter that says, look, this is the final draft.
Of what you.
Change under penalty of torture.
Right.
Nothing
But
substantive.
with the understanding, that when we go through the hearing and we go through public review, if there's changes that need to be made, they need to be made. I just don't want us to be wordsmithing this document for the next 1 year.
Right.
So it's,
You want me to talk to Kathleen?
Kathleen could read it, but she can't make any changes. Public hearing.
It's all on you guys.
All right.
All right, so we'll try to turn that around as quickly as possible. We don't necessarily have to wait till the next meeting, I guess. So,
Yeah, if you can get it out next week, that's fine.
Tomorrow, Jess would be happy, like.
And just for the procedure, are we to send it or are we to give it to Vicky? Does it matter? To send, because usually you're sort of sending all the stuff right now. I don't wanna, it's up to you. You guys.
You can send it to me and I can be,
It's up to you.
I'll send the message with the little asterisk that says
Or we can put something together to have.
change under penalty or something.
I just want to be clear, like.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
Send it for you.
let Vicky put the 10 of the high level thing to all the municipalities that would.
Okay. So
Don't see how these.
I know. We'll just work it in so that when you open the document, something pops up and says, no changes acceptable or something.
Okay. Did you get a motion or anything? Okay, anything else for the good of the organization?
Do we need to?
Got a motion? Yeah, let's get Dennis making the motion.
Second.
What's the motion? I'm sorry.
What's that?
What was the motion?
The motion is to have the planning commission go and move the plan forward.
So, yeah.
Cool. Did he come out of that speaker this time?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you now. In multiple
Well,
places.
we're behind me.
Yeah, she just came out and hooked that up. I think that was
Oh.
the issue.
Yes.
Going.
Sorry for the problems.
Motion in a second.
No comment.
I say we were used to it, but.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Wait. Further discussion on any topic or what?
We didn't get there.
We didn't get there.
Yeah, just on the.
On the motion.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, we're gonna cut you off of the phone.
Okay, you can.
All right, we can hear you in the back over there.
Okay. All right. Now I gotta put my headsets on.
No, replacement.
All right, anything else?
Anything else for general discussion? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you have a question, John?
I was at the zoning hearing board meeting tonight and I don't know if you know, but the Borscht Belt in Newtown was appealing its a notice of violation regarding neon signs. As you know, the ordinance prohibits any sign which is illuminated by inert gas or any form of exposed tubes. In the there was lots of questions that the proponents, the owners had with discussion outside of that meeting, which was like, do we prohibit neon signs inside an establishment as well as facing outside? I mean, this whole neon sign ordinance is really a mess. I mean, it's got 6, 7 words in it, and it really doesn't explain very well. And it's not even modern. I don't know what the problem is with tubes, but there are plenty of signs in Newtown with tubes. And, you know, inert gas, what is inert gas? So there's a lot of confusion, I believe, about what's allowable and not allowable. And at some point, I think, you know, these signage ordinances have to be looked at, I think. So I don't know, I guess the process would be, I need to bring this up with the Board of Supervisors and put it forward as a motion to get before the jointure. Is that how it works?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on if there would be like a specific proposal. Like, I think if there's a way that you want to amend the ordinance, we would do it just like we did tonight with the LI/OLI district, which would be, your solicitor would put together a draft, either coming from your planning commission or coming from your board. That would be a proposed amendment to the ordinance, and then we would put it in front of the jointure for review.
Yeah, I would definitely like to get the planning commission involved. I mean, I know people are expressing a lot of opinions about this ordinance, and there's a lot of misinformation also. And for example, the owners were suggesting that they're going to put up a LED sign instead. Now, there's some ordinance about LED signs, isn't there, in the jointure, or is it just facing the bypass? I'm confused myself. So, this whole thing about lighted signs, whether it's LED, neon, fluorescent, inside or outside, is lots of room in there for enforcement that is not consistent, let's say. And, we're getting raked over the coals maybe in public opinion because of this. And, it's gonna come back to bite us in the ass. That's my opinion.
Well, and just to throw out, I mean, Newtown, Phil had mentioned several years ago, and it's on the bottom in terms of the to-do list, the bin list. Sign ordinance general revisions. That was something that Newtown said they were going to drive because there were inconsistencies in Newtown that they wanted to.
It might have been long enough ago that I was on the planning commission.
Could have been, yeah. So,
Been
I think, I mean, if John, if Newtown is interested in taking that up, like the EV or whatever, and proposing changes, I mean, that can be done. I mean, I don't know what changes that we need to make to the sign ordinance other than, I guess the question is do we or do we not change allowing neon signs, which is the big issue of today? But,
Is that only Newtown, or does that pertain to all?
potentially all three of us.
Does.
Yes.
Well, there was some confusion, and even from our solicitor about, well, maybe if the sign was smaller, it would be okay. That's how things get confused. Is there a size limit to neon signs?
No, it's the neon signs are not permitted in any window within the jointure. Now, when you start talking about inside signs, I don't know what you mean, John, by that. If it's not visible to the street, it doesn't matter. Okay, we don't zone the inside of the building. But if the sign is sitting in the window, either interior to the window or exterior to the window, that's not permitted.
Okay, well, that is not what is specified in the ordinance. Simple language like that maybe be helpful. But, for example, they have assuming that the ordinance applies to inside as well. And then they're complaining about the beer store next door to them that has all kinds of neon signs inside. And they're saying, well, aren't they in violation? So they're confused.
I'd be for relocate the sign ordinance again. It's like, as I remember, it's like 5 or 6 pages of sign requirements.
Wow.
Including when your signs are supposed to be picked up after elections.
Picked up after what?
Your signs are supposed to be picked up after elections by so many days. After the election's over, you
You mean
pick up your road sign.
campaign signs, road signs. Yeah, but I'm talking about neon signs, which is about 10 words, basically.
Right,
That's all it says.
Right. But maybe if we're gonna look at the sign ordinances, we might as well look at the sign ordinance.
Yeah, and again, I think for me, it's pretty clear a sign is something that it's exterior to the building that everybody can see. I mean, if it's interior, we're not regulating that as part of that sign ordinance in the zoning.
My suggestion to the deli was to move the neon sign to a sidewall inside.
That's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, if
I hope
it's,
that's what they do.
yeah, if it's inside, then it would not,
Be
it
visible.
would violate the zoning ordinance,
Right.
even if you could possibly see it through the window, but.
Well, was a unanimous motion tonight from the zoning hearing board to uphold our ordinances, so
It wasn't unanimous, it was 3-1.
who was the one? I didn't hear that.
The assistant chair, or whatever it is, the co-chair, who was chairing the meeting at the time, he
Okay.
raised his hand when they asked for a nay vote, so it was 3-1.
I didn't hear that. I was in the back of the room. Okay,
And
correction.
one person had recused themselves.
Just as a history lesson, back when the zoning ordinance was established, the only section that was not written was the sign section. And that sign section came 2 or 3 years after the zoning ordinance because it was so difficult for the
Yeah.
4 townships, 4 municipalities to get together on that. And I suspect that the neon sign provisions were probably put in there because of the borough. And, you know, at that time, because the borough probably didn't want to have neon signs in its windows down Main Street. And that's probably why that provision is in there. Is it something that could come out? Sure. I also volunteered to let you know that in Wrightstown Township, all of our bars have neon signs inside the windows. And they're well, but they are legally non-conforming uses. They've been there for 50, 60 years prior to the zoning ordinance. So
So they're grandfathered
they
in.
are grandfathered in. So we, new businesses, like we had somebody try to put a neon sign in one of the stores at the Anchor Shopping Center, not, maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and they got cited because that was not allowed. That was a new use. But for bars, for the three tavern uses we have, they have neon signs in their windows. And
We had a neon sign on the exterior the past year, told them they had to remove it. They put it inside the storefront facing out the window and told them it's crafty, but can't do that either.
That's where this one is, Borscht, that's what it is, inside the window facing out.
yeah, but it's still part of it's part of the exterior, a window sign. So
Well, I know when I first became a supervisor, this issue came up when we actually had a zoning officer. We do not have a full-time zoning officer. We have a company that we hire out, who I don't think is really doing a very good job, to tell you the truth. But I remember the zoning officer at the time, he came to the Board of Supervisors and suggested that we need to update the signage ordinances. And that's not just something that was suggested by, some idiot like me. It was the zoning officer himself. I forget his name. He retired, I think. And we were never able to find a full-time zoning officer. I don't know why, when we're spending over $300,000 a year on this.
well, John, I hear you, but that's kind of, you guys have to handle that problem. We can't handle that here. The only thing I will ask is that if Newtown is interested in looking at the sign provisions and coming up with suggested changes, I mean, we can start that process, but unless we have something to work with as a template,
Okay, I'm just bringing it up, letting you know what's going on.
Talk to your planning commission, John.
Yep, I have been and I will. And, we don't want to be discriminatory.
You should.
Thank you.
Agreed. All right, anything else for the good of the organization? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you for dealing with my technical problems. Sorry.
Not a problem. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Have a great evening.